G'day everyone, today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the Plane Designer in Hearts of Iron 4. That's going to include how to create and change designs, how to unlock the different modules that you need, what stats are important, as well as give you some basic design templates to get you started. But firstly, if you find this video helpful, you can help me by liking and subscribing, and feel free to click that notification bell to see when new videos are posted. I'll also have timestamps down below for all the important bits. The Aircraft Designer, which comes with the By Blood Alone DLC, is one of the biggest mechanic changes in HoI 4 recently. It gives you complete control over the customization of your planes and opens up a whole range of new options for players. Once you've purchased and installed the DLC, you can now go into your Aircraft tab in the production menu, and you can see that there is a whole range of different plane designs and airframes available. You'll also notice that the naming scheme has changed slightly to be brought more in line with the Tank Designer, since you no longer have Fighter 1, 2, and 3s. Instead, what you have is the Interwar, Basic, Improved, and Advanced airframes. When you research an airframe, it becomes available in your production menu to use. You can decommission some of these older designs just to keep things neat and tidy. To create a design, you simply click on the Create Variant button, and that will bring up the Plane Designer. You can adjust an existing design or use one of these blank templates here to create a new design from scratch. The role of an aircraft will depend on what's equipped in its primary module slot, which is the far left one on the top row. For example, if you add machine guns or cannons, it will be a fighter. If you add a torpedo, it will be a naval bomber. Or if you add one of the bombs, it will become a close air support. You can create aircraft to fulfill multiple roles. For example, if we put machine guns as well as the bomb locks, you now have a fighter that can perform the close air support mission. Speaking of which, you can see what role the design has just here below the name of the design. And on the right hand side of the info panel under the adjusters section, you can actually see what missions that aircraft design can carry out. If you click on a mission, you can see what the plane's stats will be while it's performing that mission. The main stat that you need to keep in mind for this is a plane's weight cannot exceed the thrust. To increase the thrust, you'll need to add on a larger engine, which is the far left module on the bottom row. The amount of engines that you can equip on a design increases based on the airframe size. More engines will give you more thrust, however, it will significantly increase your production cost. Another thing worth noting is that you can add in additional modules on the bottom row here, such as armor plates or defense turrets, which give you bonuses you can see by hovering over the tooltips. They do come with an extra production cost and generally will add extra weight, so be mindful that you don't add on too much to your aircraft. In terms of which stats are important, the old way used to be that agility on fighters was the most important thing, and the best player was to max that out. Agility is still important, however, it's not the only vital stat anymore. You do need planes with a high air attack to be able to shoot down enemy bombers that might have lots of air defense. And likewise, adding air defense is going to help keep your planes from being shot down. I'm by no means a meta player and prefer to have fun with my games, but if you want to keep a good balance of agility, air attack, and defense, while still having CAS with enough CAS damage to be effective, you're going to be fine. I'll show you some designs later in the video to get you started. Let's go through the research now. Most of it is contained in the Air tab under your research menu. However, there are some hidden modules throughout which we'll go into as well. First of all, you have your airframes, small, medium, and large. When you research a small airframe, you also get a carrier variant that you can use to make carrier planes. You no longer have to research an extra variant. Your small aircraft are best used for your fighters and CAS, and even cheap naval bombers if you just want to cover coastlines where you don't need a lot of range. Your medium airframes are for your TAC bombers or heavy fighters, and you can still make TACs which fulfill a variety of roles, although the cost of them will be a bit higher than your small frames. And of course, your large airframes are basically pretty much just for your strat bombing. You can stack a crazy amount of bombing damage on them, but they will cost you an arm and a leg. On the right, you have all of your different modules that you can equip onto your planes. Bombs allow most of the different close air support basic modules that you need, while the photo recon allows you to make scout planes, which I'm sure all of you do. Your light machine gun tech leads into the tech for heavy machine guns and cannons, both of which are really great ways to stack a lot of high air attack on your fighters. Survivability studies allows you to add on armor plates to your aircraft to increase their defense, as well as self-sealing fuel tanks, which increase rubber cost but adds extra air defense. Aircraft construction allows you to add things such as dive brakes, which help your CAS, non-strategic materials, which saves you aluminium, or floats to give your planes more detection at sea and make flying boats. You can also get range improvements for larger fuel tanks or even drop tanks to increase range for a bit cheaper. And finally, the engine line allows you to build larger and stronger engines to carry all of the modules that we just covered. You also have the modern fighters and the jet engine tech, but that's more of a late game thing and also pretty self-explanatory. Now let's go over the hidden technologies that you may not be aware of. In the engineering tab, as you research through your radar techs, you're going to unlock radio navigation, air-to-air radar, and ground-to-air radar, all of which either decrease the nighttime penalty for your aircraft or also increase their strat bombing stat. On the computing side, you can unlock better bomb sights. Again, that's going to be increasing your strat bombing stat. Next to that, you have your rocket techs, which allow you to put rocket engines on your aircraft. Why would you do that? No idea, honestly, but it sounds pretty wild. At the final rocket tech, you can also unlock guided anti-ship missiles, which are kind of a replacement for the torpedo. Now, if you come over to the naval support tab and scroll all the way down the bottom, you have two techs down here for naval mine laying or aerial mine laying and aerial mine sweeping. This could be useful if you're trying to build naval supremacy against a stronger opponent. It is a late game tech and you can just use like mine laying submarines to do this, but it's still a cool feature to have. And finally, the hidden tech you'll probably use more than anything in the artillery tab, you can unlock rocket rails. No, I'm joking. These are actually pretty trash, but then again, it is a cool thing to have. You can maybe put them on your fighters for a bit of extra CAS damage or something. No, what I really mean is the anti-tank cannon here, which you get with the first level of AT, or anti-tank cannon 2, which they add a huge amount of close air support damage to your planes, so be sure to pick these up if you can. Now, I'll give you some design ideas to get you started. I'll basically just be using the improved airframe since they're pretty much the main one that you'll have early on and use throughout most of the war. Just keep in mind, again, I'm not a meta player. I like to have fun when I play Hearts of Iron, so these aren't going to be perfectly optimized, but they will work well for you. And feel free to mix and match, try different things. Why not? That's what this game's for. First off, we've got a decent fighter option here. So it's just a small airframe with cannons and either 1 or 2 heavy machine guns added onto it as well. I also have the highest level of single engine that you can fit onto there, as well as some armor plates and optionally the self-sealing tanks. As the UK, I have access to a lot of rubber, but if you're playing a nation that doesn't, you can either leave them off or add on an extra armor plate. For our CAS design, I've got 1 AT gun level 2, 1 AT gun level 1, and a bomb lock. The bomb locks are optional. Then I've also got the level 3 single engine, just to make it a little bit cheaper, and the dive brakes to increase targeting. These have got a really good amount of CAS damage, while still not being super expensive. For a naval bomber, I'll generally just go for a single torpedo, and then honestly, you don't even need this high of an engine. You can sort of just go for the more basic one to make it cheaper, and then dive brakes as well to increase the targeting. This is pretty much just the design I use for attacking surface fleets along the coast, but if I want to hunt submarines, especially in those larger sea regions, I would use a medium airframe, go for something like this. You have to add a medium bomb bay there, but you can chuck on 2 torpedoes as opposed to 1 for the single frame. For the small frame, sorry. I've also added on a level 2 engine, the flying boat, and extra fuel tanks to give it some more range. For a jack-of-all-trades type bomber, something similar to what a tactical bomber used to be, I generally do something like this. So we've got a bomb bay, we've got the anti-tank cannon 2, a torpedo, and a bomb lock. Then sort of like a level 3 engine just to make sure I've got more thrust and weight, armor plates, and then the rest of these are kind of optional, but you can chuck on a defense turret to give you a little bit of air attack to help fight off enemy fighters, air-to-ground radar, radio navigation, and bomb sights, all which are sort of going to help you with the nighttime and strat bombing that you may use these for. You can also see here that the bomb lock has got a little yellow exclamation mark there. Basically, that is going to notify you that there's some sort of issue with like putting that module on with one of your missions. So you can see here from the tooltip, this armament won't be used on a naval strike because we already have a single torpedo mounting. If we were to add a second torpedo mounting though, you can see that it would use both of those on that mission. So that's all you can that's sort of how you can tell if a particular module is actually going to be used or not. I mentioned earlier that you can really stack some strat bombing on your large airframes. So something like this with 4 bomb bays, we've got 6 engines, armor plates, and then all of the electronics. So your air-to-ground, radio, and bomb sights, as well as self-sealing fuel tanks to give it a bit more air defense. This gives you almost 80 strat bombing, as you can see here. So that's also got a decent amount of defense too. So, that's also got a decent amount of defense too. So any crappy fighters aren't really going to be able to shoot this down. They're worth an absolute fortune, but again, they're really fun to build. So that's everything that you need to know about the aircraft designer in Hearts of Iron 4, as well as some designs to get you started. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've found this helpful and entertaining, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing to see when I post new videos. I also stream on Twitch, my link's in the description, so please stop by and say g'day, and I'll see you in the next one.